yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I'll fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I'll pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your fucking cloud. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 Anything negative, cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my fucking mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big boss, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase it? Face it, I don't give up quick, I don't give up shit, I won't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I'm on it, I'll make it, I promise. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Dude, you got yourself on mute. Yeah,
I always do that shit. Sorry about that. Welcome to another episode of Late Show.
There you go.
This one won't be as long as the other nights. Definitely not. But welcome, guys. Hold on, let me turn up my.
Yo.
Where's my music at?
Oh, yeah, I'm still buying a new mic this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Still having issues, huh?
I went back and listened to the show from the other night. I don't like the way it sounds. Because even though with all the paneling I have and stuff around, like, it still gives off. What the hell you doing, man?
What?
Turn that shit down.
Why ain't the shit? The shit's not loud on my end.
Loud on my end.
I just fuck with my settings here.
Let's call out everybody. Chat. Don, Yukon, Bear, Miss Arlene, James, Lorna, Caitlin, Titan, Miss Sue, Holly.
Why is that shit not playing on my ears?
Paper Chaser.
Yo.
Oh man, I gotta tell you about this conversation I had at work yesterday.
1 second.
Shit.
Yo, I'm gonna just hold it down for a minute.
Oh man, I need interaction with this. Oh man. All right. like this shit legit had my head like what the hell is going on? So at the job I work with, right? There's a 14 to 50-year-old. They're basically like the counter person and the dishwasher. So we were having a conversation yesterday while we were rolling a batch of dough, and I asked them, "Can you guys name the original 13 colonies?"
Oh, there you
They
go.
couldn't. They couldn't do it. They could, dude. Then I hit them. Okay, who did we fight to declare our independence? And they couldn't even answer that shit. I,
Well, it's you ever see those videos where dudes go walking down the street and they ask people random questions like, "Yo, how many continents are there? What's the capital of California or Oregon or some shit?" And people are always like, they give the completely wrong answer, or the one where people were like, "Yo, what's Memorial Day about?" And everybody's like, "Oh, it's about having a day off and blah blah blah."
dude,
Like,
you learn the first 13 colonies in elementary school.
you know what I would have liked to learn in elementary school
Oh my,
more about?
dude.
Thinking about it,
Uh,
The Lost
hold on,
Colony of Roanoke.
hold on. They kept going on. I was like, yo, seriously? Like, you guys are annoying me. I hate to say it to 14 and 15-year-olds, but I'm like, yo, you guys are annoying me. You're about to lose your speaking privileges. The cream on the cake is a teacher came in and he teaches math. And well, he teaches math, but he has a minor in history. He said I should have went back and teach history. I told him about the conversation we just having. He looked at me, he's like, "Yo, these kids ain't gonna know that."
Shit, they don't know how to. They
He
don't
was
know how
actually,
to.
dude. He was actually up in Albany when they rolled out that Common Core math shit or core math, whatever that horse shit is called.
Um, Shit, kids nowadays they can't write in script. Uh, Definitely can't balance a checkbook.
No,
Like I
they
was
can't,
taught that. I was taught that shit
dude.
in school.
Dude,
Balancing
they
a checkbook.
can't. If it's not a digital clock, they can't read the clock.
That's crazy, but true.
A clock where you have 12, 3, 6, and 9, they cannot read that clock. I was shocked. Oh my god.
So you, before we started, you said you wanted to ask everybody something.
Oh yeah. Alright. So if I started show about like fishing, how many people would listen? I'm talking aspects of fishing, having people come on talking about
Yeah, doing like this right here, live streaming,
yeah,
but just fishing.
yeah. That's what I was wondering because I'm like, I'm not gonna. I just applied to a couple of pro staff teams, so I'll be hearing back from them in like the next couple of days. And if it works out, then I can promote them, get paid for it, and one day start working this 9 to 5 gig shit.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah,
Hopefully one day, just I'll get into a profession where I can just work from home and I'll be able to do this shit more often because I like doing this shit. It's relaxing to me. Coming on, talking to everybody about paranormal stuff or just movies or just shooting the shit. You know what I mean? Because all I do is work.
Lee Smith said they'll watch. Econ Sam said he's in. All right.
Yeah, yo, you gotta go back and check your email because I did resend you the administrative link
Dude, I check my
for.
email like every 4 days, and I'm always getting.
See, that's why
I'm
you
not
keep.
even subscribed to Saswell Sponsor anymore, but I still get every damn what is it, their community posts or whatever. I still get those just in my email. That and all types of just fishing tackle offers and whatnot.
Hmm.
But we said so.
So that edible kicking in yet?
No, no, no. I just hope it helps me sleep tonight. That's all. That's all I mean. I ate the shit.
Oh, were you sitting out in the sun all fucking day?
I tell you the truth, it wasn't that hot, but you know what? I did get a little bit of a tan.
You know,
Not
I
that
actually.
like you could see, like I really have like sun lines on my arms and shit like that. Shit is crazy. Like I actually have it on. Pretty funny. So I looked at my arm. Holy shit! I got a tan line. All right, it works, and it's very distinctive too. But nah, man, it was a good day out there. I was feeling. I should have been out there like 7 o'clock in the morning. That's what I should have been. Mine wake up to like freaking 9:30.
No, I actually called out of work today because my youngest Chance, you know, the little munchkin I brought on here a couple of times, he's been sick the last. He was sick. Yes, I guess yesterday, throwing up and stuff. Was running a fever, and right now my wife is out of town with some family issues, and I just want to say, hey, listen, prayer warriors in this group, can you guys send some prayers out to my wife and her side of the family? Her father has to have some major surgery done tomorrow. So if you could, that would be much appreciated. But like I'm the only parent here. I'm the only parent here. I'm the only one with the car here. So like I can't and leave the kid sick home all day. You know what I mean? And be at work. It's just not me. It's bad. I give them enough time. You know what I mean? My kids come. The kids come first. I can always find another job. Especially when these fuckers been holding my bonus money for months. Yo, they're holding like fucking 15,000. So let
For
me tell you
what?
what. All right, so this is what happened, right? In the profession I work in, I'm a direct support professional for my second job, and this the field, is greatly underpaid for the stuff that we do, right? So the new governor of New York, who took over after Cuomo, I think she must have like a family member or something that has like developmental disabilities or whatnot, because she dumped a buttload of money into this field, right? So the job I work at, uh, they were breaking it down into two bonuses, right? One's called like actually like three or four. So you get the jib jab shot, the jib jab bonus, which I'm not gonna get because I didn't get that shit. Then you get the $1,000 hero bonus for working through COVID, right? And then you get a big one, which was a retention bonus, which was like 30 or 40% of your salary or some shit like that. And then you get another one called the longevity bonus because you're still working there and whatnot. So a lot of people are looking at a lot of goddamn money, right? But because it's summertime in the area I work in, the like our area, apparently it's hard as hell to keep people working during the summer. So these snakes are holding everybody's money up until till like the last damn minute to make sure they have staff for the summer. Like the shit is so crooked. Like because like there's like, oh, it's life changing money, life changing money. Yeah, if you pay it, I'm sure a lot of people are gonna leave this job because it's not worth it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like I like the field. I've worked in this field my entire adult life, but for you knuckleheads to be holding up hundreds of people's money, you're gonna start getting unruly. And when you actually do pay it out, a lot of people are gonna quit because you're being dicks. You're gonna take the money and run. Well, you get quiet on me, Bass. You muted yourself on me. You know what? I'm gonna do this. Compose. Bass, unmute yourself.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, man. Shit, I'm just listening. I'd be pissed off too if they held up my money.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's bullshit. Like, I could pay off. I could pay off a lot of shit. Like, pay off a lot of my wife's car. I can go get me a new one. Because you know what happened to me earlier? Before this bullshit. My e-brake doesn't work now. So I went to the gas station. Well, hold up. I went to the gas station, right? And I'd never leave my car in gear, right? Because half the time when I get in the damn car, I start it and I'm half asleep. So I never leave it in gear just in case it jumps. So I get out of the car, I put the e-brake on, and get out of the car, and it's not rolling or anything. It's just still. So I go inside, pay for the gas. I come walking out, and people are like, "Hey, is that your car?" I'm like, "What? What the fuck are you talking about?" I look over, and my car had rolled backwards. It was like halfway on the sidewalk, halfway into the middle of fucking Broadway. And I'm like, "Holy fuck!" So yeah, I got in it, started up, pulled it back over the curb.
My parking brake went the other day.
Got in it, drove it over the curb, got my gas, and took off. Yeah. I need some new wheels.
What's going on, Chaos? Dude.
Mr. Chaos, I just sent you a stream link, Mr. Chaos.
What Henry in here, earlier looked great. You gotta get him to make some lasagna, man.
What?
Sitting here with one-armed bandit.
Hold on. Brett just sent me something.
Yeah, that was a hella. See, I don't have my mouse hooked up. Hold on a second. So, that shit.
See, I haven't been seeing it. I've been looking up in the sky lately. I haven't really been seeing anything.
Oh, it's been clear out. Very clear.
Maybe they took a break from our area.
Like this. Well, no. This dude, after I dropped off all those damn pizzas to the camp last night, I got back to my job. Cause, like, you know, I got my seat and my fit. I'll put it to you like this. I had to take shit out of my car in order to fit 40 pies into my car for delivery.
You got too much shit in that car anyway.
I know where it's at, though. Don't worry about that. So I get back, and, like, you know, like the softball field is right there. I'm just looking over the softball. Dude, clear as shit. I was actually standing there for like 10 minutes, like, just looking. I didn't look over the rock quarry because that's usually where I see shit, but I was just looking over the softball field.
You know, You know where I haven't been in a while. I want to go see if the star line, the skyline, still looks the same way. Is go drive over by Kutcher's at night.
Yeah, but you know what? They haven't been taking care of that property as well.
No, I'm not talking about going on the damn Kutcher's. I'm just talking about being like over in that area. Because remember when we used to work there, we used to go over there by the driving range, and you could see the swirl of like the Milky Way galaxy.
Yeah, but that was on the
I was right on the driving range.
yeah, that was on the driving range. Dude, if you get caught on that shit right now, first off, that shit's probably like 3.5 foot grass. And I know there's snakes back there.
Oh well, you saw the. Did you see like last year? I think last year before I made a video, I was driving past there, and it was like a few months after we had played there, and the grass was like 3 feet high. Nothing was mowed. I was like, "Did you see?" And Kutcher's was a PGA rated course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's great. That was a good ass golf course, and it looked like the damn jungle over there.
I would
Yeah.
walk through that shit.
Right, I'm gonna bring that up right now and bring it
I
up on
would
the
not
screen,
walk
show
through that
everybody.
shit.
Oh no, when I recorded it, I
Dude, that's my favorite golf course.
only
Like I played the Monster, played Terry Berry, played Lockmore,
I only walked maybe
played
10
a few
feet
other, but
onto the.
Kutcher's hands down probably, especially that first par 3. We got to get over that little bit of water, or that one on top of the hill near the ski chalet, where if you hit a slice, you're gonna be on you're gonna be on the fairway. It's such a crazy ass hole. Dude, is my volume too low or something?
No, can you hear me? I'm good.
No, I'm talking about my mic volume.
Oh no, you sound fine, dude. All right, so X out of this.
Yeah, Chaos, that's crazy.
Chaos,
Did you
hop
at least
your
get
ass
some
in
sleep
here.
though, bro?
Check your email, dude. All right, yeah. So what was I doing? I'm bringing this video up from Red. Share screen.
I'm not looking at my phone right now. My phone's on trip.
I got it. Don't worry about it. One day I will become better with this. Quick. Everybody,
Really?
So, where is it? All right, so Red just sent me this, and I just caught a helicopter chasing this above Cathedral Rock in Sedona. So, is it on the screen? Can you see it, Bass? Or no?
Yeah. If you can make it a little bigger.
I got it full screened.
Okay. Well,
All right.
hold on. Let me make my shit bigger. I'll take the chat off the screen. All right, go ahead.
So right there. I'll add you in a second. I got my thing on full screen. Let's see.
Tell you what, that ain't no damn star. what we're gonna do. Chaos.
Hey, my brothers, how are you doing?
How you feeling today? You get some sleep?
Well, I mean, I could be better. I mean, as far as that goes,
well,
but yeah.
So Bass told me what happened to you, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was. I needed to, if I hadn't have worked the overtime, I probably wouldn't have got hurt. And maybe it's my stupid head or something like that. But you know what? You remember when I sent you the pictures of the studio as I was building it? My studio, my little enclosure. You know that sound matting that I showed you?
Mm-hmm.
That had that white cloth on it. Well, it wasn't that kind of cloth. The product that we were running was these cloths are like 6,000 yards. They're like massive gray rolls of cloth. And dude, I've done these cloth changes 1,000 times with these things. I mean, it's nothing new. And I go up and I tag my cloth on and I lift the hoist a little bit and I'm just pushing it forward. This stuff is so big, it does generally shift to the left a little bit. So I just kind of brace my body and push up against it on the left side. And, I give it a little bit of a pull just to get it down into the thing. And I feel a nasty pop in my shoulder, my left shoulder. And I just thought it was strained. I mean, I honestly, I didn't use my arm for like the first 2 hours. And for the last 6.5 hours of the night, I was able to just kind of use it as a brace and keep it tight to my body. But I was able to do the job I was doing with one arm for the rest of the night. So I just thought I strained it. And
so it popped from the shoulder and not say like the forearm.
Oh no, it right from the shoulder. I got a torn bicep, or how did they say it? It's the short head tendon that ripped, that came off. And I partially tore the long head tendon. So that was just from the emergency room. They took x-rays and I don't have any, like, from what they can tell, they can't really see the rotator cuff, but I didn't tear any bone away. So it was just the tendon itself. So it's like, now I got to go in tomorrow and deal with workman's comp and all that shit and that rigmarole, which is kind of scary because I've never dealt with something like that before. So
when Bass was telling me last night, I immediately thought, holy shit, that sounds like Triple H when in the early 2000s when he tore his quadricep. Oh no, yeah, his quad muscle.
Yeah.
And he said it rolled up into his thigh. I was like,
yeah.
And then you kept working after that.
Yeah, I did. I was dumb, but I needed the money because if I didn't have the money for the rest of the rent, then I probably would have got kicked out. So I was like, I'm doing it for my kids. So
completely understandable.
But yeah, so the short of it is gotta just kind of have to go through that whole rigmarole, and this is going to be fun. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, just like I think Bass told you, don't be caught doing nothing you ain't supposed to be doing because they send people out and fucking watch you like hawks.
Well, I mean, I sent Bass the pictures earlier. I was kind of hovering over Henry earlier, and Henry, with my instruction, he basically cooked this just awesome supper, man. And I'm like, I'm so proud of that boy. And he's like, yeah, I'm really happy. And I'm like, well, you're going to be doing it a lot, so get used to it. And bright side is, I mean, there's pros and cons to everything. I'm a lot slower because I'm really only operating with one arm. I can only use my fingers at the end of my sling that I'm wearing to like hold little light things, but I don't have to do dishes, which is great. You know what I mean? That's a nice break. But the thing that sucks is that I'm ambidextrous except for two things, which is writing and wiping my own ass. So there's some issues that I got to go through. Not trying to be gross, people, but it is what it is.
Sue said her son Wayne did the same with both of his arms.
Oh, dude.
Holy shit. Tell me it wasn't at the same time. Ugh.
Oh, that's horrible. I do have a little story for you guys that I haven't told you that happened last Saturday night.
What'd you get?
Well, from where I live, if I'm standing at out in front of my apartment where I park my Jeep, I'm at one end of my little street. Well, the other end of my street, if you look down there, especially like here in the summertime, all the trees are grown over, so it kind of makes this hourglass in the sky. I can see, if I look up, I can see the 3 triangle-shaped stars that make up the Big Dipper. And this was last Saturday night last week. About 10:30, Renee and Oakley and I went out, and we had to take her mom up the hill here to the emergency room. And so Renee went with her, and I came back to the house, and I was like, well, while I'm here, Oakley's sitting in the back of the Jeep. I had all my stuff with me. I was changing my plate lights, because I have these like grip gloves that I got from work, because I couldn't pull the friggin' bulbs out because they were so small, but I was able to do it with this. And I get the plates all changed up, and I happen to look up in the sky, and there's the 3 stars, the handle of the Big Dipper, and then there's this red orb, bright red, what looked like, I thought it was Mars. I thought it was a planet, in all honesty, because it was just bright red. But it had that little twinge of, you know how like if you're looking at Mars, you could see it's red, but it's got that little twinge of white to it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow. I'm like, Mars is really bright tonight. So I look down, and I go and grab something off my back seat, the little covers to put back over the top of the lights. I walk around the back of the Jeep, and I look up, and it's not there. And I was like, did I imagine that shit? I was like, wow, that's wild. You know, I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was really weird. I'm like, I know what I saw. It wasn't moving because I stood there and stared at it for 20 seconds. You know what I mean? And so I go back in the house with the kid, and about 40 minutes later, the wife messages me, hey, can you make a coffee, put it in a travel mug, bring it up here? Well, the emergency room is literally, I can walk up here in about a minute. We're right at the bottom of the Goodall Hospital here in town, right at the bottom of the hill. So I go and I make a coffee, and myself, Oakley, Henry, and Bubba, my oldest boy, all of us, we go and we walk down the street, and I'm telling Henry about what I saw. And I'm like, yeah, it was really weird. Like maybe it was, I don't know what I was seeing, but I know what I saw. And we get to the end of the street here, and we start walking up the hill on the sidewalk, and Henry's like, you mean that right over there? We turn and look over my shoulder, because we have St. Thomas School is literally right across the street with the playground right at the edge of my street across 202. And right over the top of the school is that red orb. Instantly I recognized it. I'm like, wow. And it's kind of it, the way it was hanging, it was either really far away or it was close and low. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't really tell. It was it was kind of a bright light, so I really couldn't judge distance. But as high in the sky, it didn't look like it was that high. It looked like it was just over the top of the school. So as we walk up the hill, and we're both, I mean, my oldest son is completely oblivious. Rock and roll. Oakley, he sees what's going on, and he's a little freaked, but he's already like holding onto my hand for dear life. And me and Henry are discussing it as we're watching this thing follow us up and around. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. I'm trying to go through every possible thing without actually coming to the conclusion I was thinking of in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we walk around to the back side of the hospital where the emergency room entrance is. She meets us out there, and we're hanging out, and we're drinking a coffee. And this has got to be the point where it's about pretty much almost 1 a.m. now. And I happen to look off in behind, if you're standing at the emergency room, there's like this new facility they built. It's like a care home over there. And you've got kind of like a swamp area with some trees. Well, there's this one massive tree off at the very back of this parking lot area. And above that tree is sitting that orb. Henry points it out to me again. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's got to be a tower. And he kind of walks over a little bit, and he looks. He goes, no, I don't think that's a tower. And I'm like, how would you know it's dark? He's like, no, I know it's not a tower. So we're just, we banter back and forth a little bit. And as we're about ready to leave, all of us are looking over at it. And this thing raises itself probably, if I could judge distance by just what I was seeing, it probably raised itself about an inch and a half in the sky. So I'm like, okay, so it's not a tower. And then we walked home because I had to go get the Jeep because I was going to bring her mom back home. And this thing yet again follows us. And it kind of takes its place over the top of the playground, right where we could see it if I was standing in front of my, right next to my Jeep. It was like right straight down the road. It's there in the sky. I go in, and the other boys go in. I come back out. It's not there, and I haven't seen it since. So I don't know if that makes me special or crazy or what. I don't know.
How long? All right. So throughout this, how long How long did this all take from beginning to end? Of you noticing
From when
that?
I very first saw it, when I was changing the light on the Jeep.
To when you got back to the house and you didn't see it anymore.
So if that was about maybe probably about an hour and a half, something
So
like
this
that,
thing-
hour and 20 minutes.
This thing followed you around for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, just kind of chilling out in the sky. I don't know what's so special about me. I mean, in all honesty, like when we have live streams, and if you've ever heard me put, like, especially if I'm at work, I put stuff in the live streams. Yeah, I've got a visitor, or there's been this, I don't know what it is, but it's a bright light in the sky, and you can see it, dude. I mean, it's like you can't not notice it. And its lights go almost like a red, green, white, yellow, blue, and they kind of swirl back and forth. The way they twinkle, or the way they flash, or whatever terminology you want to use, it kind of goes back and forth like that red bar on the Kit car in the Knight Rider TV series. It's like that. And I see this thing all the time when I go out, like for my last break, or I'm all, well, you really, I guess I even see it a little bit in the day when it starts to get dark. But, you know, probably for the last 6 months, almost every night, I will see this thing in different positions in the sky. I mean, you could think it's a really bright star, just an insanely bright star, or maybe it's a drone or something, but I'll see it at a certain position when I go out the front door. Like, say on my last break, I'll see it in a certain position in the sky. And what I'll do is I'll relate to the other stars around it. And I started doing this because this thing is moving positions. So I look up in that area and I don't see it, but I look over here or I look over there and I see it, and I'm looking for the other stars that were around it, and those didn't move. And I'm like, okay, well, if it was a satellite, those do move. They move slow, but they do move. They go I think it's like, what, left to right or something like that?
I think so, yeah.
In our area anyway, because I mean, you're only down the coast from me just a little bit, so you're kind of looking at the same sky I am as far as that goes. Same position.
From west to east, yeah.
Okay, so west to east. So for me, that would be left to right in the sky. That's how I rationalize it, more or less. But from west to east, well, okay, I can understand if this was in one part of the sky and it moves over eastward. Okay, well, then maybe that's one thing. But sometimes this thing will move in the opposite direction or be hanging out in another part of the sky. So, I mean, I haven't seen that particular one in a couple of weeks, but this red light in the sky, that was a little weird. I don't know that I've seen one like that before, like that.
Yes, I got a weird question for you.
Okay.
Could you be experiencing this from what the wife experienced?
You mean like that like green light that she saw that I told you about a couple of summers ago? With her sister and
back around?
I don't know, maybe. I'd say anything's possible at this point, but that was like a green light. That was a big green. She said green, forest green colored light. And I'm like, well, that's fucking weird.
So Henry is the one who saw the thing outside of his window that one time, right?
Oh, the craft? Yeah. Yes.
So now, was Henry with you when you were walking with the coffee?
Yeah, all my boys were, yep. As a matter of fact, I think we might have actually seen something last night. I was outside. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just could it be possibly following Henry around? Being that he's had the experience where he saw it saw it outside of his window, right? And then he's with you the entire time that this thing is following you.
I mean, it could be. I won't call bollocks on that. Not at all. I won't call bullshit on that. I mean, it's a good possibility. I mean, you know, he did experience something that I didn't experience that I know of. You know what I mean? I mean, there was an incident when Oakley was like 3 years old. You know what I mean? That happened. Like, it was like, wow, it was almost 4 years ago now, because Oakley's going to be 7 years old, like in a week or a week and a half. And yeah, I mean, ever since that time, activities ramped up pretty good with us around here. I mean, even with a few of the experiences that I saw when I started moving in here. So that's the weird thing. I lived near the airport most of my life. I know I had that one experience. If you remember way back when the first collaboration that I did with Vault and Lakea on the old Vault of Nightmares, when they first kind of brought me into the fold, it had like Swamp Dweller. Lakea did a story and Dark Waters did a story on that. The story I did in that took place, I was 20 years old when that happened, but other than that, I'd never really seen anything like that in the sky until I really moved here, and that's when I really started looking up. But then again, that's also when I came into contact with my buddy that lives across the street, and shit kind of just blew up from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you're in the same boat as I am, sir. You're being followed around by lights.
Possibility. I mean, it's last night. I was having a couple of beers outside, and I was talking to my buddy Mark's wife. As a matter of fact, I came out to make a phone call, and she happened to be outside, and we were shooting the shit. And both of us looked pretty much up at the same time, and there's a white light coming across the sky, like almost. It was high up, but it was right over the. It looked like it was low enough that if it were a jet, we would be able to hear it, or if it were a propeller-driven plane, engine-driven plane like that, we'd be able to hear it because we see them all the time. I mean, this is an area where it crosses, but this thing kind of like big ball of light, just kind of tooling across the sky, silent as can be, moving nice and smooth. I was like, I'm looking at her and I'm like, do you think? She's like, I don't know, maybe. I'm like, it's not making any noise. And now I turn to grab my beer that was on the hood of the Jeep, and I turn around and look, and this thing is gone right out the other side. Kind of like it's like it was going one speed. I looked down to grab my beer, and I looked back up, and this thing is hauling ass, like it picked up speed and took off. I mean, it could have been something that had a bright light on it that was from us, and we couldn't hear the engine noise, but I don't know, that's a possibility too, but it's just like...
That's like that video I put on the channel a couple weeks ago when I was walking out from work, and I saw that light coming from by the moon.
Yeah.
Tootling along, and just happened to look up, and it, like you said, it was low enough that if it was a jet, I would have heard it, or if it was a propeller prop, I would have heard it. Didn't hear any of that, and it's just tooling along the sky really slow. Co-worker comes up, James, what are you looking at? I'm like, that white light right there. She's like, oh, all right. And she walks inside because she's doing overnight, so she ain't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I just told one of the drivers about the shit the next day, one of the UPS drivers. And he's like, which way was it coming from? I was like, it was coming from west to east. And he's like, I saw the same damn thing. So I got a little confirmation. And he lives... From where my job is, he lives damn near on the other side of the county.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. I know it's weird, man. It's kind of almost... I hate to say it, but seeing something like that in the sky lately, these last so many months, even last year or two, has been kind of like, well, it's there, cool. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost gotten to the point where it's like, I don't know, I mean... Have I desensitized myself to it? It's kind of like with you guys when you're talking about your experiences and stuff you've seen, like that video that you posted. You were like, wow, cool, look at that. You know what I mean? That's cool. It's not like seeing it for the first time or seeing it so far and few and far between. You're like, dude, double rainbow. You know what I mean? So it's like, one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's there.
Yeah, like, because a lot of people will record stuff. They'll say, oh my God, do you see that? That is... And meanwhile, you got us who've seen and experienced the stuff, and it's like, all right, I got my kid. Oh, that shit's pretty cool. Oh, that's not
that's
normal.
cool. Yeah, we see that shit all the time. Although last night at that, I was like, fix me, help me. They didn't. So
What's up?
I'm talking to Truth and Bass on this stream.
Who's that? Is that Oakley?
That's the wife. That's the wife.
Tell her we said what's
You
up.
taking my cigarette? They said hi.
Joey Fato, how you doing?
Yeah, how you doing, huh? How you doing? Good night, baby. Love you.
So, I got a movie you guys should check out. It's called fucking what the fuck? I watched it yesterday. The Void, Beyond the Void.
Beyond the
It's on
Void.
Amazon. It's on Amazon.
Why does that sound
And
familiar?
because you've probably been on Amazon, you saw it, and you was like, and just scrolled past it. Well, I actually took the opportunity to watch it, and it's so there's a kind of like a void type black hole deal that like comes and sits over Earth, and they lose the space agency loses an astronaut to it and shit. So they decide they want to go. They have to investigate it because apparently it's showed up before. So now they want to go investigate it, and they get tired of sending probes in there because the probes, they're not really sending back the information they want. So the main point of this I'm trying to get at is in this movie, what they do, they develop what's called a human 2.0, and it's a human body. It's pretty much an exosuit, but what they do, they take the brain from a person and stick it in this thing, and they program it to be your every aspect, just like you, but it's like a robotic body. And the shit, so they take inside of this shell, they take they put your brain in there, and they have this gel in there, and it's an absorbent gel, and they put enzymes in it to match your brain so your brain doesn't reject the conversion process. Dude, this shit is so trippy. You have to watch this movie because I guarantee you that's what they're doing to make these like fucking super soldiers and stuff like that. Because you know how they say they put stuff in movie to let you let me see if I could probably bring up a picture of what these suits look like.
So while you're doing that, there's a comment in the chat that I want to address. It's a question. Caitlin Lee. She said there's a cool app she found called Parasite. You can record anything from paranormal, cryptid, UFO sightings near you and look at the other sightings. Is this one of those? Because, I mean, I've been having some weird shit go on with me lately that I haven't really said anything to anybody about. I mean, the people in the house here know. But it's just... Have you ever obsessed over something so much that it's turned you off to something? That sounds like a weird question. Because I want to, is that app free? And two, like, you know, kind of, how does that work briefly type of thing? Because I've been, you know, at the point here where I've been working on this Sanford Mills video, man. It started with one thing and turned into another thing. I haven't been able to really be able to find some of the information I want to, but if I just kept waiting on and trying to dig, I don't know that I would ever get this video out. And it's gotten to the point where it's kind of taken over everything else with me, to the point where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to quit YouTube, screw this type of thing. You know what I mean? It's just really weird as far as that goes, because I've been really digging into this case. In the video, the actual story, the named chapter of it is Satan in a Small Town, and it's something that happened here in the 1980s, in the mid 1980s, early to mid 80s. There was a case that was kind of primarily, because I was actually talking about it with my dad earlier, and he remembers it, and he's like, yeah, he goes, it was a big deal, but it was one of those things where, you know, this is a small town, and people just, you know, at that time period, town officials, police, they only did a couple of articles on it, and that was it. Nobody talked about it. It was all more kind of like got into the realm of, well, I heard this and I heard this, kind of almost like the rumor mill type of thing. And it's gotten to the point with me that I need to like hurry up and get this video out. So if I'm going to be spending a lot of time out of work now because of this injury. I'm going to really get on it and try to finish it. But it's just kind of strange, man. It's one of those deals where it's like it almost kind of drove me to not want to do this stuff anymore, because it just seemed to be like, you know, you do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, if I can't do this, then I'm just not gonna do it, type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I so just a little bit of it. I was digging, and as I was writing the script for this video, there was some things that weren't making sense to me. There were some things that were, but so I went back in and I started digging again, looked into old court paperwork, and I also found an article that was done some years later, I want to say early 2000s, in remembering the girl that was killed by a certain person. And as I was reading, I actually found, and I double checked it because I literally have like this one file in my word processor that has like 30 pages in it, and it's court paperwork on the case, it's all kinds of things, and that court paperwork kind of confirmed it for me of what I was looking for. So I went to the or near the area, because it was last Sunday night, as a matter of fact. So it was this last weekend was a heck of a weekend, but myself and Oakley and Henry decided to go down into these trails. You know, it's York Street Extension, but it's a dead-end road, and it just kind of goes into the Mousom Way trail system that we have here, so people can kind of like walk trails all around the town and everything like that. And the short of it is that we got to a certain point, and I decided for the hell of it to just turn my spirit box on. I didn't say anything, didn't ask any questions. I just turned it on, and we kept walking a little bit further. And once I found the frequency that I was actually able to hear out of the spirit box, because I have like a couple of like 3 frequency settings in there, we heard direction, eyes, left. And I'm like, well, that's friggin' weird, because at that point we had walked up in an area where, damn it, I can't find my thing. We walked up into an area where you had kind of like this little clearing area, and then it was like a literal fork in the road. One side kind of gradually went off to the right, one side went off to the left. Well, the side that went off to the left was like, it kind of went downhill a little bit. And I'm going to judge maybe 10, 15 yards down that path, because it was about 8:30. So we were in the woods, but it was not dark enough that I needed a flashlight. But I pulled out my little tack light and I snapped it on, and there was a shadow probably about 10 to 15 yards away down the hill, kind of just poking out from like next to a tree. And it wasn't moving, it was just standing there. So I shine my light on it. And you know how you shine your light on something that's like black, like say it's like a well, actually the best way that I can do it is if you take a flashlight and you shine it onto your sound mats that you have set up in your room. Well, you know how the light hits it, it doesn't show a glare like if you were to do it on a hard surface like a desk or something like that. If you shine it on that, it just kind of absorbs the light. That's kind of what it was. There were no features. There was nothing like that you could see features of any kind. It's just like when the light hit it, it absorbed it, more or less, which I found a little unnerving. And then the wife calls me. She's like, "You guys got to get out of there." I'm like, "Wow, what's the matter?" She's like, "I saw a bobcat walk down that trail." I'm like, "We got no fucking bobcats, man." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I'm talking to my old man this morning, and I'm telling him this, and he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "We most certainly do have bobcats around here." I'm like, "We do?" I'm like, "You got to be kidding me, man." So I don't know. That's
yeah, but
that was
a bobcat wouldn't have absorbed the light like that.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is that it wasn't a bobcat I was looking at. It was just maybe it was just this weird coincidence that the wife, calls me when I see this, because Henry and Oakley didn't see this. I was kind of looking off in one direction and they were looking off in another direction. And it was just weird to me that she's like, a bobcat just walked down the trail, the trailhead that we walked down, 10 minutes before that, because I think we were down on those trails for about 10, 15 minutes total.
How far up the tree was it?
Well, that's the thing, is it wasn't on the tree. This thing literally walked by the Jeep, because she stayed at the Jeep. She didn't come down the trail with us.
No, I meant the thing where you put the light on it.
Ground level. It looked like it was probably 4 or 5 feet tall. So it looked like a person made of shadow. So it was basically a shadow with a human shape kind of poking out from behind a tree. And I'm guessing that's the area, the general area. I haven't had the chance. I was going to do it yesterday, but the wife was like, you should go to the emergency room because your arm don't look right. And so that kind of went to hell. I never ended up going down that way yesterday afternoon. But, I mean, I'll make it down that way eventually. It all kind of depends on, you know, what's going on next year. But I want to go down in that area and that was the area, because beyond that area, probably I'm going to guess another 50 yards down that trail is where the Mousom River is. That's where they found her. So that's where she was dumped. You know what I mean? So I'm like, it was this. And I mean, and of course I'm using this app on my phone. So, you know, I'm not able to, the minute she calls me, that just kind of cancels the app. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's that was a little bit strange. It was a weird, let's just say for me, at that right there was kind of a weird coincidence of events. I don't know if I'm using the right terminology for that, but yeah, that was strange.
So right here on the screen, I got this. It's called The Beyond. It came out in like 2018.
Oh,
And
Beyond, okay.
So it's a pretty damn interesting movie. Would this make it full screen? Oh, that's Google Lens. I don't want Google Lens. Go back to this shit. But so this, can I make this shit bigger? Oh, get bigger. No, didn't go bigger. So all right, now I found this part of this movie super interesting because they didn't want to send. Now the way this movie is set up, it's like a mockumentary type deal. Like it's a camera crew following this space agency that came across this void, and they're documenting all the steps along the way to send a human consciousness through this portal. And they go and recruit a bunch of different people, and the first test subject, the conversion fails because his brain shut down. Now, I wish I could bring this one up bigger, but right here, this is what the suit looks like. All right, and it's like they said it was nano carbon fiber and everything like that. And what they do, they pretty much 3D print your fucking face likeness to put onto this shell, and then they take your brain at the stem, like at the top of the stem, and they cap it off and they place it into this body. And your brain, it's fucking weird. And the body actually looks like it's breathing. It's not human. It's not like, it has a framing system in it that makes it look like it's breathing, to give the person that's wearing the consciousness of the person that's wearing the suit, to make them feel normal, like they're in a normal body. Everything else is automated. They have the voice synthesizer converts their voice. The forearms actually have weapon systems in them. You know what I mean? I think this is a subtle way of them telling, like this shit right here. This is a subtle way of them telling us this is the future of what they're trying to do, transhumanism. Because in the movie, when they say that they don't want to send people, like an actual person, through the void, they say they were tasked with going to, I think it was DARPA, and they were tasked with going to their transhumanism division. And this is the shit they came up with. Dude, if you guys get a chance, watch this movie. It's super crazy.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks real cool. I'll have to check that out.
You said that's on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's called The Beyond.
I'm gonna need something new to watch because I finished Halo and The Boys, so I'm gonna need something new to watch.
I haven't watched season 3 of The Boys yet. Do not spoil it for me.
I just finished.
Oh,
The Boys
dude, it's so fucking brutal. It's so good.
Dude, Jensen Ackles is the shit as Soldier Boy. I'm telling you, that Soldier Boy character.
He is. He's so good. And I gotta tell you, honestly, the guy that plays Homelander, Michael Starr, is such a good actor. He can look he literally with the fake smile and the crazy eyes and the mental going on. It just, man, he's such a good actor.
Yeah, he really makes you think he's unhinged, dude. This shit is crazy.
Yeah.
His performance as Homelander in The Boys, to me, is on par with Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Yep.
And then you throw in
that's a huge statement right there. That is a huge statement.
You sit there and you watch The Boys all through.
Listen, I'm off the next 3 weeks. I am going to binge watch this shit.
Pay attention to the progression of the Homelander character, and you'll be like, "Yo, your truth is right." Because you can see every episode he's just becoming more unhinged. And you can
he's so good at it. Like, I'm sitting here watching it and it makes me uncomfortable, and I know he's just acting in a show. It makes me uncomfortable. So it's like, damn, that's good. You know what I'm saying?
He gets that little smirk going with the fucking beady eyes. Like, oh shit. Like, the most powerful man, that's fucking evil Superman, dude. Could you imagine Superman doing that shit?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
But I do hope that they don't shelve the Soldier Boy character.
No, Soldier Boy will come back.
Yeah,
have you finished the season yet? I mean, have you finished that 3rd season yet?
Yeah, I finished it.
Yeah, he'll come back. He'll come back. I mean, he kind of has to, in all honesty. And I know I'm not giving anything away because of the changes that were made in from the comic book to the show, but in the comic book, Black Noir kills Homelander. Well, Homelander, what he does, it messes up the whole. I'm like, dude, I thought halfway through, until episode 8, this was going to go the way the comic went. I was wrong. I must be wrong. It must be something different.
As in the comics, isn't Black Noir a clone of Homelander?
Yeah, it's like the clone that they made. It was kind of like how it is in the season where Soldier Boy is this, and then they made Black Noir, and then they made Homelander after the fact. So it was kind of like different versions of improved versions, so to speak, I guess. But yeah, dude, Jensen Ackles is so good as Homelander. I mean, as Soldier Boy.
Yeah, like I've been saying, I need to see Jensen Ackles in the MCU as
please, somebody hit
Ghost
that
Rider.
Yeah, I got him.
Jensen Ackles needs to be Ghost Rider.
Dude, I would love to. Now that Marvel has the rights to Ghost Rider back, and they shelved it for some reason. Dude, I hope they come out with redo the whole Johnny Blaze thing. You know what I mean? I really want to see that. I really want to see that come out.
I mean, and this guy Michael Starr as Homelander, just
dude, he's so freaky. He is so freaky. He does such a good job.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you got my boy Carl Urban, man. This man has done so much for like geekdom. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, he's great as Billy Butcher. He's so good. He's good in everything he's in.
Like
he played that Judge Dredd he played. Not too sure about the movie, but that show was badass.
He was the best Dredd there's ever been. Don't get me wrong, I like Sylvester Stallone, but he oh yeah. Have you ever actually read any of the comics? I mean, or checked out any of the graphic novels? I mean, he literally does he's like almost right there. If you took Dredd out of print, dude, he nails it. He really does.
It's kind of like how the Punisher 2 was supposed to be. That's how the Punisher is.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few people that have told me, wow, they came back. What the hell? But what was I gonna say? I really liked John Bernthal's Frank Castle. I really did.
Yeah. He's been recast as the Punisher. I just don't know how they're bringing him back. If they're going to introduce the character into the MCU or just keep it as part of the TV shows.
Right. I'm not. I mean, so is John Bernthal still the Punisher? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, he's still the Punisher.
Oh, okay. I mean, because don't get me wrong, I like the one with Thomas Jane as the Punisher. That was a fun movie to watch, but John Bernthal is so much more like Frank Castle than I think anybody who's ever played him. And it's just like, man. I mean, I don't know. I know they're going to do another season of Daredevil. I did hear that. And I know that he and Daredevil do work together a lot. So,
all right. So I got an old.
When they're going to do another Daredevil, but
do you remember the original Punisher movie?
The one with Dolph Lundgren from the 90s.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
You can't throw Dolph Lundgren's hat in that match?
Like, because it wasn't.
It was for the era.
Well,
no,
Dolph Lundgren, don't get me wrong, I like Dolph Lundgren. I really do like him. He was awesome as Konstantin Kovar in the Arrow series. He played that part really, really well. He's been good in pretty much everything he's been in. I absolutely loved him in Creed 2, revising Ivan Drago. But Frank Castle, it has a certain just... The way Dolph played him, there was a little bit of cringe in there, and I liked it. I thought it was cool. But Frank Castle has this just weird swagger to him. I'm talking like an Old Spice swagger, almost. It's power. It's just there's just something about Frank Castle. He literally rides on the line between heaven and hell. Type of thing. And I personally just thought that John Bernthal really, really just played that out so well. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I love Dolph in whatever he's in. He's fun. Even if it's a cheesy ass cringy movie, he's still good in it. You know what I mean? But it's like, and that guy, when they had Punisher Warzone, that was horrible. That was like one of 2 movies, I think one of 3 movies I actually walked out on in the first 20 minutes of the movie. I was just like, oh, this is gross. I want my money back.
Do you remember Dolph Lundgren's movie We Come in Peace?
That was Ruger Hauer, wasn't it?
No, that was Dolph Lundgren.
That was Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because Ruger Hauer played the bad guy. He played the alien in that, right?
Uh-huh.
No, that was that wasn't Ruger Hauer, man. That was somebody
It wasn't?
else.
No shit. I love that line. We come in peace, you go in pieces. You know what I mean? I thought that was really cool.
Technically, the name of that movie was called Dark Angel.
Really?
Yep, it was called Dark Angel, and then the subtitle was like I Come in Peace.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's like one of the greatest. That's like one of the best 80s, 90s cheese sci-fi movies ever.
Yeah. I heard they're remaking Highlander.
Really?
Yeah.
That should be interesting.
Man, I absolutely positively love the Highlander movies. Love them. Christopher Lambert's one of my favorite actors ever. You know what I mean? It's literally one of the top 10 for me personally, one of the top 10 lines in when he's in the police station after the fight at the beginning of the movie, and he looks at me and goes, "Why, are you looking for a date?" Something like that to the cop that's interrogating him. But man, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. I'll definitely give it a shot. I like the TV series. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Illuminati. If it's a woke Highlander, no, thank you. I mean, because I have both Duncan and Connor replicas of Duncan and Connor's katanas in my closet. So, I mean, I'm definitely a Highlander fan, definitely. But I liked the TV show. I thought it was good. Adrian Paul couldn't swing a sword to save his own life, but he tried. You know what I mean? It was still fun to watch.
Yeah,
Especially that dude from the Fine Young Cannibals that had a reoccurring role as a bad guy in there. It was pretty cool. Speaking of movies coming out, have you guys seen the trailer for Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves?
I have not seen that.
I just found out about it the other day, and I watched the trailer, and my God, it's got Chris Pine in it, for one, who's a great actor. But dude, this movie looks so bomb. It does. Like, I'm sitting there in the trailer. I must have watched it 100 times, and I'm picking out all the stuff because I mean, I'm an old D&D geek. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, finally, they're doing a real friggin' fantasy movie.
Sorry about that. You know what movie I'm looking forward to watching? I know it's only coming out on streaming, but the new Prey movie.
Yeah, the new Predator movie, the first, as they call it, the first hunt. Yeah, that's that. I mean, in all honesty, from what I've heard, and I don't know, because I've been looking for articles on it. Some articles say one thing, some articles say another, but they want to. And I think Shane Black is pushing to do, because I really liked The Predator, the last movie that came out with Shane Black, and that he directed, which I thought was friggin' awesome. And they want to have that dude that was in that movie work alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dutch.
Oh,
and
you're talking about, okay, I think they were writing like a story about that where Dutch became like
yeah, he ended up after leaving the jungle, he ended up like, as a matter of fact, Gary Busey's character in Predator 2 kind of alludes to it. If you know the background in the comics, they had a huge comic series with it where Dutch went in, was able to get a crew of people together to go hunt these creatures and track them all over the world. And Gary Busey, his team that you see in Predator 2, is part of that group.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I mean, I think Prey's going to be a fun kind of, you know, movie type of thing with Native Americans and way back in the days, early days. I think that will be a real cool movie to see. I'm looking forward to that too. But I really want to see them bring Arnold, and Arnold's not opposed to it from what he said in some interviews. So he's like, we'll just see what they say. You know what I mean? Type of shit. So
I know, but
a
few years ago, he was refusing to do it. They approached him like 6 or 7 years ago about that.
Yeah. Yep. So as a matter of fact, what was it? Sylvester Stallone has a new one coming out where he plays like a superhero in a suit called the Samaritan.
Dude, I seen that on my Google search, but I didn't hit the button to watch the trailer because I was out on a lake. But
I would, if you get the chance to check it out. The trailer looks really cool because it's like, okay, so he seems like this from the trailer. He seems like he was this normal guy that used to be a dude that wore like a metal suit and went out and protected people. But as you see in the trailer, this dude's got something to him. Like, he's punching people or kicking people and they're flying 20 feet. So I'm like, ooh, sweet superhero stuff. I'm all about it. It looks good, man. It does. I think it does anyway. It looks like it's definitely worth a watch. You know, the 2 minutes to watch the trailer.
what do you think about the new Jeepers Creepers that's coming out?
I didn't know there was a new Jeepers Creepers coming out.
What?
Really? Is it, dude? Are they actually gonna do this right now instead of screwing up the timeline and making bad movies?
No.
I mean,
I think it's a complete reboot. The original guy isn't involved in this. It's called Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
oh, nice.
It takes place down in Louisiana.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah, Typhoon just put it in the comment, the chat. Yeah, I actually was following at one point. I was actually following the comics that they had Dutch in, you know, after his encounters in Cambodia and forming the team and chasing after these predators, you know, throughout. So I'm hoping that they make a movie that kind of addresses that, because that would be really cool, especially with the new predator hunting suit and all that stuff. So
You know what? The way I found out about that is because I was just like scrolling through YouTube, like looking for predator stuff, and like that story came up on YouTube, and I started listening to it. And I'm like, then I had to go back and look for the books and shit like that. That is, dude. If they do that right, that would be an epic movie.
Yeah. So I just stepped
If it
outside.
gets out of creative hell, like most stuff stays in.
I just stepped
Nice.
outside. I just stepped outside for a second, right? And I
You
happened to
seen a
look over.
UFO?
No, it's raining out. But I happened to look over in the neighbor's yard, which is like diagonally across the street from us. There was just something fucking big and white over there, crawling through their fucking yard. I don't know what the hell it was. There wasn't no dog. There's no in my section area where I live. There's no big white dogs.
Well, load your guns. It's like keep the windows and doors locked.
Shit. I don't know what the hell that thing was, but it went behind the house.
Wow.
So yeah. So I came inside.
They might have caught it on their ring.
She probably did. I'll ask her tomorrow. I don't know what the fuck that thing was. What time is it? So it would have been like 12. I would say check the ring around like 12:35. No, the Predator movie, a Dutch Predator movie would be good. Like him forming his team. I would like to see the kind of a prequel. What happened to Hopper's team? The team that they went down there looking for.
Yeah.
I'd like to see. Maybe not.
Well, if you do the movie
like a
about
short-
Dutch, you can make that. If you do the movie about Dutch, you could put that like
It's
in
like a
the
5
beginning
minute
of the movie. Yeah, like a little 5-minute opening. Then it cuts to him in the jungle. Whatever what happens then it cuts to him being an old man.
And then like 20, and then like say like 20 years later or 30 years later or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, are you talking about Hopper? You talking about the Predators, the one when they were dropped onto the planet?
No. In the first Predator movie, the reason Schwarzenegger's team was sent out there was to get some cabinet member or some shit, right? But when they discovered that helicopter crash, and they found those bodies hanging in the tree, and he looked at the tags and it said Jim Hopper, and he knew him as a Green Beret from out of Fort Bragg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck were they doing here?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that would be a pretty good story to tell. What happened to why Hopper's team was sent down there, and what happened to his team, and then sort of like segue into the Predator, which was the Arnold Schwarzenegger '84 movie,
Right.
and go from there.
I think it depends. I mean, for us who are fans of that genre and that series, I think a lot of us will have a warm reception to Prey. But I think that for them to do more movies, because the Predator, the last one that came out, had mixed reviews. The fan base liked it, but it kind of failed to draw in a new crowd. So I think if maybe this does well and it responds well and brings in more viewers and more people liking it, then maybe we'll be able to get to see something like that.
Well, that last one, I actually went to the theater to see that one. I thought it was shit. And the only reason I thought it was shit is because they went too much CGI in that thing with that Mega Predator.
Right. Well, and almost like they kind of had to at that point, where you got something that's like 20 feet tall or some shit like that, or 15 feet tall or something.
It was just, but right at this stage though, CGI is so much better that it could have looked so much better than it did.
Yeah, it could have. They did great with the entire movie, and it seemed like they fell short with the Mega Predator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, come on, guys.
But yeah, I mean the lame like oh get to the choppers talking about the motorcycles and shit. I mean
Yeah.
they put the little subtle jokes in there here like that. A nice touch though was bringing in Jake Busey, the son of Gary Busey, who played the Keys character in Predator 2.
Yep.
That was a nice little touch
Yeah.
to have
Yep.
Keys' son be part of that shit.
Yep. I agree with that. That would be.
So let's dive into this one. The new Ghostbusters. Still haven't watched it yet.
You haven't watched Afterlife yet?
Serious?
I'm
Oh,
going to.
dude, it's
I'm going
so
to.
good.
I'm
Oh
going to.
my god.
But when they announced after Ghostbusters 2, right? I was always for years I was like, yo, they need to do new Ghostbusters. Need to do new Ghostbusters. Then they came out with the one with the female cast a few years ago, which I wasn't a fan of. To me, it was too bright.
It was terrible.
That reminded me of that one Batman movie.
Too many bright
In the
colors.
90s with who was it? Was it Val Kilmer?
Oh, is that the one with George Clooney in it?
Yeah, it was too.
That had
bright.
Arnold as Mr. Freeze, and he was all lit up like a fucking blue Christmas tree.
Yeah,
Kind of like the
too
lights in your
bright.
background there.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
It was
too bright.
I thought that one was too bright. So I was thinking if they're gonna if they remake or bring another story on for Ghostbusters, this is before they did Afterlife. I thought they should have did it where Oscar from part 2 takes over the business. After you know what I mean, after the whole deal with the fuck was his name?
Vigo.
Yeah, Vigo trying to take him over as a kid. My story would have went like he led a life of like he felt like his life has been haunted the entire time because the Ghostbusters kept it from him. Then he found out what happened to him when he was little and then took over the business and shit. That's the story I would have went with.
Well, we may see that story because with the reception that Afterlife got was so good. Jason Reitman had said that one of his favorite villains was Vigo. So they're like, we had to wrap this storyline up that's in Afterlife, so I'm not going to spoil it for you. They had to wrap this storyline up to bring in the older cast and kind of make everything new with the new cast. He blatantly said, he's like, we have plans for 2 more movies. And we really they want to revisit Vigo. They want to bring Vigo back and kind of do that thing as far as that goes. So we just may get to see that because I'm going to tell you, dude, you're absolutely gonna love Afterlife. It was so cool.
And with that immortal vampire Paul Rudd in there. Paul Rudd's looked the same.
Paul Rudd, yeah.
He looked the same since 1996.
I think he is a vampire. I think he has been doing some like friggin' sacrifices to the evil gods there, man. That guy don't age.
How did Clueless come out? Clueless
I'll
came
look
out in what,
over
like 94, 95?
I'll look it up right now. I think it was like 93. Clueless.
He still looks the same. Damn vampire.
Clueless came out in 95.
Paul Rudd was in Clueless?
Yeah,
he was like the stepbrother.
Really?
Shit like that.
Yeah, he was
Absolutely.
Alicia Silverstone's stepbrother.
Wow, I think I've only watched that movie once, and that was it. That was because my ex wanted to see it, and I was like, I'm never gonna watch this shit again. So, yeah, like Keanu Reeves, exactly. I'm looking forward to the next John Wick movie.
Don't ask me how I know that.
I
Dude,
heard-
did
I
you
heard-
see recently that Keanu Reeves said that he wanted to play Wolverine in the MCU?
Yeah, honestly, I think he could probably pull it off. I mean, as an old Wolverine, but I mean, dude,
Yeah,
Hugh
definitely.
Jackman made that role iconic. You know?
It'll be like the different. I'm pretty sure though. Doesn't Wolverine have like 2 different variants of him, or 2 different guys for Wolverine or something like that?
He could. I mean, in all honesty, which is weird because in the comics, Wolverine, because of his regeneration abilities, doesn't actually age. So he literally kind of just stays the same throughout. You know what I mean? He looks the same. So I mean, Hugh's getting old. I mean, as good as the guy takes care of himself, you know?
Oh, they They need to recast the Wolverine character anyway. Plus, they just introduced all the multiverses and shit, so you can pull off a different actor playing
Dude.
Wolverine.
I got
Yep.
you. Perfect person to play Wolverine. The kid from what the hell was that? That Secret Service movie?
Kingsman.
Yes, that dude.
Oh, Tarrington Edgerton or something like that.
Yeah.
Some people were saying that what's his name from Harry Potter should play the shit.
Who?
You talking about Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
I did see
man,
that.
I don't know. I mean, I just it would be hard to see him as anybody. He's so short. You know what I mean? So
Well, Wolverine is short.
Oh,
they'd have to.
Yeah, Wolverine's a short.
Yeah, but wasn't like
Wolverine's
Hugh Jackson?
short.
Wasn't Hugh Jackman like 6'2" or something like that?
Yeah, but no, the actual comic book character of Wolverine is short.
Yeah,
Short
Wolverine's
as
like
hell.
5 in comics. Wolverine's like 5'7", 5'8", or some shit like that.
Yeah, short.
Short.
I would
It's just
I
like
would
Hugh
entertain the idea.
Jackman, who's individual.
I mean, I would entertain the idea, but I don't think anybody in the Marvel fan base would like to see Daniel Radcliffe as good of an actor as that kid is. That guy is. I don't know if anybody would want to see him play Wolverine. I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't pull it off. Maybe he could. He's a really good actor, but that would be weird. But then again, people said that about Robert Pattinson as Batman, and I kind of like the new Batman. I like the gritty, dirty Batman that he plays, the messed up kid. You know what I mean? But I'm weird anyway, so yeah.
I have mixed emotions about that movie. I don't. I feel like he could have played it a little better.
Yeah,
But
he
I
could
do
have.
Like, I do like the grime and grit of the movie itself.
I think the biggest turnoff for a lot of people, only the people that I've talked to, is that the fact that they patterned this Batman movie, this newest one, off of the original Detective comics that were really gritty and grimy and dirty, and Bruce Wayne was this, he may have been a billionaire, but he was this really screwed up, messed up person. And it came to a certain point when they were making the comics, when Batman got his own comics, that they kind of changed it a little bit. They kind of, put a little polish on it. So it became the Batman that we know of now, the Bruce Wayne that we know of now. And then when Frank Miller came in and wrote like his Old Man Bruce Wayne series, which is what kind of, I think, Ben Affleck was trying to tap into when he was playing Batman, the type where when they did the Batman versus Superman movie where he's snapping necks and not giving a shit. I don't know, even though that was great in the comics, a lot of people who were expecting something different out of Batman, they just kind of expected the same thing, ho-hum kind of narrative to come along, and then they kind of change it. That's, because I thought Ben Affleck did a decent job. I enjoyed those movies. But it's like, it's hard because when you want to kind of change something that's been the same way for so long that people have fallen in love with, sometimes when you change stuff like that, you get mixed reviews and, kind of like,
Yeah, when they announced Affleck as Batman, I was very, very judgmental about it. I was like, yeah, Ben Affleck
Yeah, I
playing,
was sketchy as hell.
he's playing Batman. But then the movie came out, and I was like, you know what? All right, he did all right.
If I'm not mistaken,
he did better than George Clooney and fucking Val Kilmer. I'll tell you that.
yeah, and I like Val Kilmer, but, he was not Batman.
If I'm not mistaken,
was like-
didn't Michael Keaton sign back on to play Batman
Yeah, in the
Flash?
Flash.
Forward?
Yeah. In the new Flash movie, he came back to play Batman, yeah.
I believe he signed on for a couple of movies. Which they got to redo the new Flash movie anyway because they just got rid of that fucking
Who? Ezra?
yeah.
Ezra Miller, yeah, because he's a complete
always did some
psychopath.
shit.
Didn't he kidnap some like 14-year-old girl or something like that and take off with her and all that?
Some
I don't
wild
know.
shit.
Yeah, he did some really super shady bad shit, and he was like super woke guy, and people like, I love him, and even to that point, they're like, no, that's bad. You can't do that stuff, man. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's so yeah, they're gonna have to redo that whole shit. So that's probably put that Flash movie behind like another 2 years. And and I'm waiting to see what that new Blade's gonna be like with Marsala Ali.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I'm at the end. Did you see the scene at the end of the Immortals? The one of the scene at the end of that movie?
I heard Immortals was trash. That's why I didn't watch it.
No, watch it. Immortals was good. I
Yeah.
liked it.
Listen,
Yeah.
man, you can't listen to everybody. You actually have to watch the movie for yourself.
Yeah, I watched it, and the cool thing is that I don't know if I want to tell you or not though.
Hey, go ahead. It's all right.
But there's an
No,
after
I'm not
credit
gonna-
scene. There's an
Right.
after credit scene in it because you kind of get the idea of the character that Kit Harington plays in Immortals. And I'm thinking, I'm like, why does he sound familiar? Why is, you know what I mean? It was just kind of like there was something about it. Well, there's an after credit scene where you see Kit Harington goes into like his office and there's like this crate on a desk, and he pops the crate open and there's a sword in there. And he goes to reach for the sword, and his fingers are coming close to like touching the blade, and the sword, the shards of metal reach up towards his fingers, and then you hear the voice of the new guy who's going to play Blade. You don't see him, but you hear his voice. Excuse me, or some so and so. What is it you think you're doing? Or do you know what you're getting into, or something like that? So it's like, oh, dude, he's going to be the Black Knight. It's like, yes.
I'm gonna look it up. The Immortal end scene.
All right, I got a question. Do you think that the DC universe can eventually be as good as the Marvel universe?
The DC universe?
Yeah, because they don't
Honestly?
even know if they're bringing Harry Cavill back as Superman.
Right.
yet.
Which is too bad because I thought Man of Steel was one of the best Superman movies ever. I really liked that movie.
Well,
Watched it a bunch of
I like
times.
the original.
Yeah, the original's really good, but if they were going to make a remake, for me personally, with Michael Shannon playing General Zod, I'm like, come on, dude. Like that's, for me, that was a home run, but I don't know, man. I think it's the attention to detail, the level of directors and the actors they have doing it. I mean, they're almost there, honestly. I mean, I've never been a big DC fan, but
I am waiting for Black Adam.
Black Adam isn't The Rock playing Black Adam?
Yes. Have you seen
Yeah.
the trailer for it? Oh,
I have. Yeah, I think I have when it first came out. Dude, I mean, as much of a dink I think The Rock is, he's still a really good actor and fun to watch. So
I'm absolutely waiting for that movie. Hopefully,
I
that
just kinda
movie
think-
puts DC on the right track to start making good movies, because they have some very good characters.
well, I mean, the Marvel MCU, Marvel Studios, they found the right formula and combination for to make their movies, to make them very enjoyable, something you want to watch over and over again. And it's one of those things that it's like, if they were to if the DC universe were to follow that kind of formula, I think they would do a lot better. They did that with, for me, well, I know Roth put in there he didn't care for Man of Steel, but with Man of Steel and the Wonder Woman movies, they did a good job with those. They kind of followed that formula. So I think if they stay on track with that, I think they're going to be just fine. And Illuminati, I agree. Val Kilmer should stick to movies like The Saint, but my absolute most favorite character he's ever played was Doc Holliday. That's the best. Hey, look who just joined the chat. What's up, bro? How you doing, huh?
What's up, Bo?
How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Hold on. How you doing, Mr. Vaultkeeper? Good evening.
I'm really looking forward to this Black Adam movie. I hope the trailer looks great. I hope they
Yeah.
don't mess up this movie.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where it's like, I mean, and I really like the Shazam movie, so it's one of those deals where I would love to see these characters come together because I think that would be a fun movie to watch. So I'm there with you. I'm hoping
I,
it's a
I'm
good movie because it does look good.
I'm getting tired of DC not putting Henry Cavill in these movies. This will be like the second movie or so that the Superman character will appear in, but it's not Henry Cavill. Like at the end, spoiler, at the end of Shazam, the Superman character appeared, and what did they do? They showed it from the chest down. Same thing with same. It's going to be the same thing in Black Adam. It's going to show him from the chest down, and then in Peacemaker, they showed pretty much was a silhouette of Superman. So give Henry Cavill another movie. Either that or let him go to the MCU, because he did a way better job as Superman than that one dude, the one from Superman Returns. What the hell was that? What the hell was his name?
Brandon Routh. Yeah, he played Adam in the Arrowverse.
That dude.
I tell you what, that like I can't remember the name, but that paranormal like type movie he came out with, that wasn't that bad. He was like was he like a bounty hunter or something like that, or what the hell was the name of that movie?
Yeah, I don't know if I remember that. Yeah, I'd like to check that out.
You know which one I'm talking about? It's that guy, but he played. Hold on, give me a second. Let me get on my damn Google.
Well said for everybody here. He knows the cameras are down. The DVR got hit by lightning. He's trying to get it back up and going now. And feel better, Volt.
Yeah, I feel better, bro.
But yeah, let's get Henry Cavill in the MCU. But I want him to be a villain. I want him to be a villain in the MCU. A villain that can last a few movies. Like me and Bass were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Make Henry Cavill Doctor Doom.
Oh, dude. He would be a really good Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom is a big baddie in Marvel, and it's not, you can't just easily write him off like you did in the Thanos storyline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doctor Doom messes with everybody. I think Henry Cavill will be an awesome Doctor Doom.
Oh yeah, he would. I agree with that. I mean, the thing is that the new Fantastic Four that they'd come out with, even though they changed the storyline a little bit and had Michael B. Jordan come in as the Human Torch, it didn't actually bother me that much because Michael B. Jordan's a great actor. I mean, he could literally play any part you put in front of him. I think it was just, I don't know if it was the way they changed certain things, because I like Toby Kebbell as Doctor Doom, but he wasn't in the movie enough for my liking. And it's one of those things where it's like, for me, honestly, it did feel rushed. I you know what, you're right. But dude, Jamie Bell as the Thing and the way they made him look was fucking awesome, dude. I mean, that was for me the coolest part of the movie. That's why I liked the movie, because of him and the way he played the character and how they made him look and everything like that. I mean, they followed that. If they could come out with another Fantastic Four that they could bring into the MCU and bring in Henry Cavill as Doctor Doom and kind of keep the same formula they did with the Thing, I think it would be a hit.
With the latest Doctor Strange movie, they've introduced Reed Richards into the MCU. So now they have the opportunity to bring in the Fantastic Four.
Well, when I watched that Doctor Strange movie. It was John something. I can't remember his last name, but it was the dude from The Office and did the Quiet Place. Yes, dude, I fucking loved him as Reed Richards. I'm like, yes, they finally got somebody in there that could really be Reed Richards and sell the part.
Yep. So that gives them the opportunity to introduce now the Fantastic Four, mutants included, because they introduced Professor X. So yeah, they can due to that movie alone, they could introduce so many other new characters now, and I'm pretty sure in some part in that movie they introduced a character that's from the Blade universe, didn't they? Because I know that in Doctor Strange, because that Morbius movie was fucking garbage.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I'm gonna watch it. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it yet. I'm not a Jared Leto fan anyway, but actually, casual conversations. I did like Moon Knight. I mean, in all honesty, the whole movie was good. The whole show was good for me. The series, I like how they brought the actors they picked are really good. But for me, Oscar Isaac really absolutely nailed that part. Like, so many times you'll come across a movie like that has so many good actors in it. It's hard for the lead actors to really stand out, but Oscar Isaac stood out. He really did, and I just really enjoyed that a lot. For him, and like Ross said, the way he switched personalities, because they did change that a little from the comic. It wasn't like a mental thing where it was like two people living in the same body. That character who was the Moon Knight was able to go back and forth with accents and personas, but still know who he was. It wasn't like two personalities fighting each other at the same time in the same body. But the way that they did it, dude, he friggin' nailed that. It was really enjoyable for me anyway.
The bots are out tonight. Yeah. Oh, and if you got everybody, go check out Peacekeeper. I'm gonna keep saying that shit. Peacekeeper.
Peacekeeper.
I can't get past the opening scene with John Cena. He is a goof.
Oh, dude. I gotta tell you, I personally despise John Cena with every fiber of my being. But I guess I can't. He's a fucking cock, man. He is literally. I can't stand that man. But I'm gonna tell you, I fucking love Peacekeeper because literally. He plays that part so good. I laugh my ass off through the entire series.
They had to give him like free range that like ad lib shit because that show is just way too funny. And I found every episode I can't skip the intro. I have to watch the intro.
It's weird, isn't it? Like that whole dancing bit is just like I can't not watch it. It's like a car wreck. You can't look away.
I have to watch this.
I mean, it just, oh god, all the characters are so good. And he's like, Dad, he's hugging me. And just the fact that Robert Patrick is his Nazi evil father, and that is just like, God, they could not have gotten a better cast for that movie. But he just, for me personally, he gotta keep his pants on. He's in his underwear entirely way too much in that show, man. It bugs me a little bit, but.
All right. Destiny said John Cena irks her. For some reason, him and Corey Taylor are like the same person. Even though I know Corey is humble as fuck, no clue why they both irk me.
Well, I can tell you, Corey Taylor irks me too, because he is humble. I'll agree with that 100%. But if you talk to some of the guys that have been in Slipknot, the only two guys are Corey Taylor and the bassist Clown. I think it was him. No, it wasn't Clown. It was Corey Taylor and the bassist are the two guys that literally are Slipknot. So I guess behind the scenes, Corey Taylor is a major dick, but the band is so good. I mean, I have every single song from them on my phone. But I'm a major Slipknot fan. That was one of the best shows I have ever seen. Those guys on stage was crazy. and that kicked my ass when Joey Jorgensen passed away because he was so good. Oh, he had
So-
man.
I'm gonna tell you a little something about myself. I actually spent money and bought that John Cena album.
John Cena put out an album.
multiple times. Multiple times.
I bought it at least.
Really?
twice. Yeah.
Yes.
It's-
Yeah. And tell you the truth, the shit
came out-
actually knocked a little bit.
It came out. It came out the year he won. He won the WWE title for the first time in like 2005. It was called John Cena and the Trademark. The trademark was his cousin, and it wasn't bad.
Dude, he
I
had
like
this one song with this dude named Bumpy Knuckles. Yo, that shit actually.
I thought it was
a
alright.
really damn good song. But you
So
gotta
was
think
it-
about It's a
It's like a
wrestler
rap album.
rapping.
It's like a
It's-
rap album.
remember when he played the whole thugonomics type stuff? He actually came out with an album. When he came out with the spinning belt, the WWE belt, he dropped an album.
Mhm.
And tell you the truth, he sold a lot of records.
Really? I mean, is it one of those things? Because I never knew he put out an album. Is it one of those things where he's known for his acting and wrestling, like David Hasselhoff, but his music is super huge in Europe, type of thing, and Poughkeepsie?
He only dropped one album.
No, it's not like that. But no, I don't know how well that. I'm sure the album did well because there's fucking millions of wrestling fans. But I generally thought it was pretty good. Like a few of those songs had some knock to it, a couple good hooks. Yeah, it was good listen. I really didn't skip any songs on it.
The best one was the one with Bumpy Knuckles.
Which one? He did two. He did the one where they were and did the video where they were acting like the A Team.
Nope, it was the other one. You know what time it is. That one.
Okay.
Keep Frontin'.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I did listen to it.
He's giving it shit, but he can remember the songs.
Dude, that's
Well,
like
you
my
know, it's-
favorite song off the album.
So he's kind of like the Marky Mark of the WWE. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Wait, how many albums did Marky Mark come out with?
Was it a couple? He put out a couple as the Funky Bunch. Then he got into acting, wasn't it?
Whatever.
Well, then he's got John Cena beat because I think John Cena only put out the one.
Yeah, because his second album didn't do much. Then he got the role in Fear, and that just blew his career right up right there.
Yeah, Cena didn't. He only put out the one album, and it was like 2005, 2006, because he did his own entrance music and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, no kidding. That's wild. I didn't know this because you guys are old guys. You remember that tag team Demolition?
Yep.
You know who did the theme? You know who did the theme song, don't you?
No.
Metallica.
Really?
Yeah, if you go back and you listen to it, that's like Kill 'Em All days. You know what I mean? The way that they sing it, that's like Kill 'Em All days right there. I'm like, what? I found out about that. If you listen to that song, Demolition opening theme music, it's Metallica who does that.
Nice. But they won't do that nowadays because you gotta have all the royalties and everything like that. I remember when
Right.
when CM Punk changed his music and he started coming out to Cult of Personality.
Yep.
They WWE got so mad at him because every time he came out, they had to pay fucking what the hell was the group's name? The group that did that fucking song. What the hell was their name? Well, they had to pay them a shit ton of money because every time he came out to that
Yeah,
theme
why
song.
am I drawing a blank on their name too?
That's irking me. Why can't I think of it? Cult of Personality. Ugh.
Cult
Is-
of Personality. Wasn't that that was a song from Living Color, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yes,
Living
yes.
Color.
Yeah, those guys are so good, dude. They were so good.
Holly, what are you lost about?
Oh, because dude, we're going back in the old man Gen X days of wrestling and all that stuff, man. Like, dude, when I was a kid, man, I was all into the WWF. You know what I mean? Let me tell you something, brother. You know what I mean? So
Speaking of wrestling, Vince McMahon recently retired completely from the WWE. So
Yeah, that's another storyline. Yeah.
So yeah, no, he's done with WWE because for one, there's allegations of sexual misconduct up against him right now from like the 80s and shit from some
Oh,
she
Jesus.
was like a female referee or female wrestler or something like that. And so yeah, he's completely done. And Triple H is now the head of creative and talent relations. So now that Vince McMahon's old ass doesn't have a iron grip on what happens on WWE television, maybe we'll actually get some entertaining shit and I can start watching wrestling again.
Right. I haven't watched wrestling in years.
Yeah, because it just got tiring because Vince McMahon had the last say in what went on TV, and he's been out of touch with shit since like the early 2000s, since the Attitude Era. And just over the last like 6 or 7 years, he's just been force feeding people just one person. And like everybody else who's got a buzz going, he fucking shuts them down. So it's like now that he's not in the picture anymore, maybe some other people actually get some shine now and the product will become better. That's how I could write. I could write some great WWE storylines, man, because their fucking writers suck.
Right. Oh no! Well, the reason why Holly we were talking about that is because we gotten onto the John Cena thing, and it just made me think that there was an old tag team way back in the days of the WWF where Metallica did their opening music for him. But speaking of, I don't know, have you guys seen it on? You guys have seen Stranger Things, right?
I haven't seen a lot in the latest season, but I have watched Stranger Things. Yes.
You haven't seen the latest season, so I'm not going to really ruin something for you. But there's a character where there's like the group splits off into 3 different directions, and you've got Eddie, and you've got that Dustin kid with the funny mouth, and they have to serve as a distraction. So Eddie gets on top of this trailer, and he starts jamming out to Master of Puppets. Well, they had a thing that they had put up on TikTok was Eddie starting to jam out to Master of Puppets, and they had a thing that said duet this. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but Metallica actually duetted to it and actually started playing Master of Puppets right along with him.
Oh, that's sick.
Which I thought was pretty cool. It was like, sweet, they could still rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but anyway, Eminem really ain't what he used to be. Destiny just brought up Eminem. I have Eminem's first album on cassette, right? And I listened to that album so much that one day I was listening to it and I was listening to My Name Is. And it was like, my name is, and I'm like, what the fuck? I opened it up and the tape just exploded. I was like, no. So yeah, the Radio 8 by Eminem tape.
Yeah, dude. They do that. It's them old cassette players, man. Back in the good old days.
I came across a TikTok the other day, right? And it's this dad sitting on the couch and he's pointing his phone at his daughter and he starts explaining to her like dial-up connection and have it because she asked him what all was and he's like, what the fuck you mean all? She's like, all? And he's like, you mean AOL? She's like, yeah. And he's like, you mean America Online? And she's like, yeah. He's like, that's what we used to use to get on the internet. Like you had to pay for a subscription. And she's like, oh, like Wi-Fi. He's like, no, Wi-Fi didn't exist. And you could just see the smoke coming out of her ears. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, no, there's no Wi-Fi. He's like, you had to subscribe and buy a disc, and then you had to call, the internet connection was slow, and if you were on the internet and somebody picked up the phone, you got kicked off. And she's just looking at him like he's got 8 heads. I thought the shit was hilarious.
You know what's funny is that back in the day when we had cassette players and CD players, back when those things were new, I guess you could say, especially when CD players came out for your vehicles, I used to do car audio. I would compete in different IASCA competitions when I had my Oldsmobile, and I had a Geo Metro that was nothing but speakers. Couldn't even sit in the back seat. There was no back seat for that thing by the time I got done with it. And it was one of those things where it's like, when I got my Jeep, I'm like, I'm gonna put a new radio in this. So I went down to Sanford Sound, which is kind of like our car audio store here in town, and I picked up because the cool thing is that the Jeep has 4-door speakers, and that's it, but they're all 6x9s. So I went and bought a new Alpine head unit, flats. It's like 7.5-inch flat screen, and I went and bought matching speakers for it. And I take it out of the box and I look at it and I'm like, what in the hell? The thing is only about 2.5 inches deep. I'm like, oh, well, it's because there's no players in it. It's all Bluetooth now. And it just completely threw me. I mean, like, literally, I had my dash was open for a week because I had to go get this. I had to get this. I had to get an adapter. I'm like, this is not how we did this shit in the olden days, man. It was like plug and play. Man, it was like, dude, you got to be kidding me. It took me a week to get that thing in there and sounding good.
Like in the car I have now, there's 2 12-inch subs in the back and like a 1800 watt amp. But there's something wrong with the amp. I don't know what it is, and I don't have the time to figure it out. So when I turn my car on, the radio, it has a little screen in the dashboard, and it tells you your radio, and then the shit will cut off, and it says there's an amp problem. Right? So, I haven't been able to listen to my radio for like 3 months. So I just turn my phone on loud and use that shit.
So does it play for a little while, then shit out on you?
Well, at one point it did, but now it just don't even turn on. And
Might have been it might have been an overheating problem, because I had that problem in the last system I put into my Oldsmobile. I had 3 amps on a backboard in the trunk, and I had an Orion, one of those big red long ones that you could bridge down to a fucking 1/4 of an ohm and pull out like fucking 2,000 watts or 3,000 watts of power out of it, and it kept shutting down. So I ended up cutting square holes in the back deck in between the 6x9s, and I put in 4 fans and added an extra 1/4 farad. I think it was a 1/4 farad power cap in there. So I had like 3 1/4 farad power caps in there. Of course, I don't know how it is now, what the terminology is now. So I'm going on back in the like late 90s, you know what I mean, early 2000s. But after that, ever since I had an airflow in that trunk with my amps, never had an issue after that. So you might have burnt it out, unfortunately, but don't take my word for it, because I'm going off of old technology. So
that's all right. Plan on, as soon as these fuckers pay me my money, I'm gonna get something new anyway.
I mean, I couldn't even begin to put a system in. I think if I'm going to put an amp and subs in that thing, I'm just going to pay somebody to do it. To tell you the truth, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I'm almost 40 now, so I'm not about. I don't need I just need a good system already in the car now. You know what I mean? And some Bluetooth in it, so I can listen to my podcasts.
Right. Yeah, I think because I've already got the speakers, I got the head unit. I just want to add I'd like to add ultimately, but with money and price wise, and plus this injury's really put a dent in everything now, but I was planning on putting 2 10s in a ported box and a 4-channel for my Alpine speakers, and whatever I had for my subs, I was going to put a 2-channel in there for there.
Lee, it might be, but I don't have the I just don't have the inclination to try to fix that shit. Honestly, at this point I really don't care. Like as long as I can hear my cell phone, I don't care.
I remember this someone had that 95 Eclipse. It was basically like a 600-watt amp, hardwired down with a legit house speaker in the back.
Oh yeah, I had one of.
With like two, like don't get me wrong, I changed like the doors, the door speakers, the tweeters, and shit like that, but whatever. But for the most part, it was a house speaker in the back, and that shit knocked.
I'll tell you what, in the Honda that me and Bass got abducted in, I had a fucking house speaker in the back of that thing. Yep, I had a house speaker and amp in that thing, and I would listen to Little John all the time. And everybody knows those early 2000 Little John albums. Those shits knocked, man. And you could just hear me coming down the street, trunk rattling like.
Those are the good old days right there.
Like, yo, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the reason, because of that amp, and I had to shit up so loud. I'm pretty sure that's the reason why my muffler fell off. Oh man, yeah, really. And I miss those days. Gas was like $1.19 a gallon.
You know, it's funny, Destiny, that you say that, because the system I had in my Oldsmobile was like a mishmash. I had and when I went and bought my speakers and my head unit for the Jeep, I was completely destroyed to find out that they don't make Boston Acoustics anymore. I'm like, dude, and I had Boston Acoustics in my Oldsmobile and my Geo Metro. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, those are like the best sounding speakers. But my last system with the subs that I had in my Geo, I actually went a complete kicker system, other than kicker subs and kicker amps with a Clarion head unit and Boston Acoustics, 6.5 inches all the way around. So, but yeah, man, I was like, dude, I love Boston Acoustics. It's like, God, I'm old. But they had Alpine, so it was all good.
All right, guys, we've been going for like 2 hours, and I got to be to work in like 2.5 hours, so I think we're going to shut this one down. Truth, did your system cause park cars alarms to go off? Yes, it did.
That's awesome.
Yes, it did. And a lot of times, I'll just to be a dick, I would turn it up really loud. Early 2000s, I'm like 19, 20, so I really didn't care what people thought. I still don't, but no, I don't listen to Yellow Wolf. Sorry, I actually don't listen to hip hop in general. I think shit is trash now. But I'm gonna shut this one down, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us on another late show. Chaos, thank you for hopping in, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Definitely. And yeah, take care with that arm, with your wrestling injury.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, God. Tomorrow's gonna suck. I gotta get up early tomorrow and go into work and do that entire rigmarole. So I told him, I'm like, if I have to fill out paperwork, which is fine, it is what it is, you're going to have someone write for me, because I can't write with my free hand. I mean, I can sign my name, but it looks like I'm having a seizure while I'm doing it, but I can do that. That's about it.
I just scribble it, though. That's all you got to
do. Right?
Do the Salt Bay shit with the pen like this. All right, guys, but we will see you on. We will be live again on Thursday night, and I don't know what we're gonna do yet Thursday night, but I will post on the community tab. So, you guys, thank you for joining us on another late show, and we will see you later.
Good night, all.